that really quick. All right, welcome. Week 2 is upon us. I hope your first week in the cleanse went well. I have been getting messages from a few different people letting me know about their kind of victories or wins. So I'm excited to see some weight loss and some lower inflammation. So that's awesome. I'm happy to hear all of that. If for some reason you're stalled or nothing's happening, or you feel like more should be happening, and you have questions, be sure that you hop into the chat and let me know if things aren't going well. Especially this coming week, I need you absolutely 100% have to poop every day, because this is when the cleansing really starts to get into full swing. And I want those things leaving the building and not just hanging out in your colon. So if that's not happening, you need to message me privately so we can come up with and troubleshoot the problem solve around that. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Let me find what I want to share here. So this call will be pretty quick unless you have a lot of questions. But as we kind of move into the second week, I like to just review, what are we really doing in this week and what are we focusing on? So in week 2, we're really focusing on deepening the cleanse. So in that first week, we removed out a lot of inflammatory foods. We removed foods that, were stimulants and depressants and all of that. And now we're going to really kind of get in there and start doing some deep cleaning. So think of week 1 as your decluttering. And now we're going to get in there and start shampooing the rugs and, painting the walls and kind of really getting deep into the cleaning. So in this phase in week 2, we're going to take all animal protein out. Now, the exception to the rule would be if you are a personal trainer, or you are training for something, or you have a physical labor job and you need to have, and you're not going to be able to, slow down in life, then you can go ahead and keep your phase 2 and have animal protein. But if that's not you, I really would encourage you to take the animal protein out. Why? What's the purpose of that? It costs us a lot digestively to have animal protein in our diet in terms of energy use. So what we're saying is, hey, body, we're going to take away this part and you're going to focus on doing these things over here now. So it's only for 7 days. And if you're thinking, well, I don't really fall into any of those categories, but I'm kind of nervous about taking it out 100%. Okay, be vegan by day and have your dinner contain animal protein. So try a variation of it if that feels better to you. We're going to pull back on some of the fats in your diet as well. We're going to kind of keep it around the 2 tablespoons, and that includes what you're cooking with. So just as much as you can. Again, because it costs a lot with our digestive juices to digest those fats. Fats are very good for us. They're super healthy and they are a building block of our cells, but we're just asking to kind of redirect what the body should be focusing on for 7 days. There is an option to do a lemonade cocktail, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But we're also going to reduce the amount of brown rice in quinoa to 2 servings a day. If you're following the recipes and the menu plan, you don't have to worry about any of this. This is already part of that. But if you do want to make sure that you're getting enough of those starchy carbs in, otherwise you are going to flatline, you will feel a little bit more tired. So things like yams and carrots and beets. So if you're not following the meal plan and you're just looking at the food list, then that's really, you're going to want to make sure that you're putting those things into your diet this week. We want to be doing as much plant food as we can. Plant food is very alkaline, and when our body is, and that's another thing with animal protein, is it's more acidic, and so it can push our body into a more acidic state. And again, protein's not bad. It's just we're asking the body to do something different. So we're saying, let's go ahead and put in these plant foods and focus on plants for a week just to give our body a break. If you're someone who loves juicing or green smoothies or vegetable broths, these are really great ways to fill in the blanks during the day. So I highly encourage getting a little bit of vegetable broth going and having that be something that you can sip on if you're feeling like maybe you're not getting enough out of the meals. But we're really going to be asking our body to kind of deepen the detoxification. Now up on page 14, which is the one I asked you to print off to have that. So you can see that if it's marked with the double asterisk, then that's the foods that we're taking out for this week, which is phase 2. Okay. Now let's talk about the lemonade cleanse. If you've never done any sort of fasting before, and this is all new to you, then you just can ignore what I'm about to say for the next couple minutes. I don't want anybody to do this if you've never done any sort of fasting before, but if you've done intermittent fasting or that's part of your regular rhythm, then this might be something to try. You can do it for 3 to 10 days. If it's the first time you've ever tried this, and it's usually with me, I would say don't exceed 3 days, so 72 hours. And if you don't have a gallbladder, this is also not for you. I don't want you to do this if you don't have a gallbladder. So, but the recipe is here. And this is what you're shopping for. And you can see the ingredients in there. When I made this cleanse many moons ago, there was grades of maple syrup. Canada changed the way they grade things now. And I think all of them are grade B or better now. So I don't think you have to worry about that, because I say don't use grade A maple syrup. And that's really the ones that ends up being like a fake syrup. Okay, and then you want to make sure that you're choosing fresh lemons or limes. Okay, and not doing any of the juice, the little plastic one that comes in the juice if you choose to do this. But you sip on it all day. You're drinking this all day and every 15 minutes just to keep your blood sugar balanced and stable. If you choose to try to do this, your body's going to have a period of time where it hasn't had solid foods. So you're going to want to onboard your solid foods very slowly. So that's where you're going to want to kind of bring back smoothies and soups and that type of thing before. Don't, jump into it and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to have this massive, meal, because your stomach just won't be able to handle that. Okay. And then I explain in here why we eliminate foods, and I hope that you've had the opportunity to read that. And I hope you had the opportunity to fill out your quiz prior to starting in on everything, so you have that beginning data. So that's really the transition from week 1 to week 2, is removing the animal protein, focusing on plant-based foods, and trying to give your body a digestive break so that we can get into that deeper cleaning. Can I answer any questions for you right now? And don't everyone unmute at once and pepper me with all your questions. Did anybody have a super awesome thing happen this last week that you would share that might be encouraging to someone else? Nobody. Wow. Okay.
I will then. Oh, Mo, go ahead, Mo.
Well, I lost a bunch of weight, probably because my cells were probably holding on, going, ah. And then when it relaxed, I lost a bunch of weight. So, it was just not that that's the reason why you do it, but
yeah, can be nice. Definitely a side effect of inflammation is that our body just, that comes right off when we kind of take out those inflammatory foods. And
I was shocked at how fast, I thought that would happen, but not so quickly.
Yeah. It's really interesting to me how when we get out of our body's way and, stop bombarding it with things, that it can do all the work it needs to do to keep us healthy. And unfortunately, we live in a culture and a time where that proves to be more difficult, because we're just always surrounded. I mean, I want you to think back of everywhere you went today and tell me that there wasn't an opportunity to have some sort of food. Like, it's so crazy. Like, you can buy food everywhere. Like, even I was checking out at Old Navy a while ago, and I'm like, they have food by the kiosk, by the checkout. I'm like, why do you need food when you're shopping at Old Navy? I just that never, so crazy. So I'm glad you guys are experiencing that. I see some things here in the chat. Debbie says, best program I've ever done. Oh, Debbie, that's so nice. I love it. Emily's telling me feeling way less bloated all the time and a bit more energy. Yeah. So this next week, just be gentle with yourself as you kind of start to change around the food again. Your energy might drop off, but trust that in week 3, when we start doing some food reintroductions, that will come back. So we'll hopefully see some things continue to change in people's lives. I'm excited to see that. And even the inflammation will come down even more. Remember, hydration and sleep are really, really important. You need to make sure you're prioritizing those. Protect your bedtime. Try to get to bed at the same time every night, and don't do anything. Don't plan this week to be the time that you're like, oh, I think I'll take up hiking. Not this week. Save it for later. All right. Any other questions or anything? Tim, you had something to share?
Oh, I was just gonna say I had the worst headaches until today.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah,
Well, but today definitely feeling way better,
that's great.
and
That's great.
I definitely lost weight. And I know there's like debate whether you should weigh yourself throughout something like this or
You
not.
should not.
I know, I get that. That makes sense to me. But also weighing myself was super motivational because I lost weight like every day. I was just like the same amount every day. Just,
Yeah,
and that was I felt way better.
that's awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
Anyway, yeah. And
Thank you.
Dawn is pretty much making all this food for us. And
I've
It's
seen
been-
some pictures. You guys are killing it over there
yeah,
at the
Dawn
OS
is
house.
doing awesome. And the food has been delicious. And so
Yeah, people love these recipes. Like, and there'll be people that will come and do this cleanse and they'll message me like 6 months later and be like, I'm still making that salad, or I'm still making that thing. It's like part of their regular routine. So good. I'm glad that you guys are liking those. Awesome. All right. Any other questions that I can answer for anybody? Anything? Yes, Dawn. Dawn, you have a question? Do you want me to unmute you? Oh, I can't. Are you on your phone? It's usually up at the top. The little, there
Okay,
you go.
a while since I've done the Zoom meeting. Okay, so if I'm like craving like a potato chip, like a crunch,
Mhm.
how do I beat that?
I like jicama for that, if you're looking for crunchy. Or I know it's kind of boring, but celery, of course,
Yeah.
is crunchy.
Yeah, that's good.
Although I like the jicama because it does kind of give you the sweet as well, a little something different. And you can get them at like Sprouts has them already peeled and in like a little plastic container. So it's kind of nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
the
Oh,
kale chips.
yeah.
Debbie
Debbie
said that in the comments.
Yeah, Deb-
we did
That was
those.
Kylie. I'm here with Debbie. That was me.
Oh.
I just made them today and they're delicious.
Kylie,
Oh, yeah.
yes, I agree. I love the kale chips.
Yeah. Does my recipe put the nutritional yeast on it? I have 2 recipes. So you can get nutritional yeast, and it has like almost you should do this, Dawn, because it tastes like cheese,
Yeah.
right? And that, like, Tim would love that. So just
I'll,
massage them with the olive oil and then sprinkle the
yeah. Can I tell that story about texted you about
Sure.
how Tim set on me because I put a piece of candy in my mouth and then he took the candy out and threw it away.
When you live with your accountability partner. I love it. I think that's great. That's great. Awesome. Well, I'm really proud of you guys for, sticking with it. And I hope this week goes smoothly for you. Do what you can to take care of yourself. And like I said, sleep and water this week, super, super important. So, just as a reminder, I'm just going to share my screen again one more time really quick before we hop off here. I just want to make sure you know how to send me a private message. Okay. So if something comes up, you go into the Practice Better where you got this link, and this little box right up here, if you click that, it will take you right over to the messages, and you can send me private messages there. So if you have something like you're like, I'm that person who's not pooping and I need help, then you can use that to message me, and it won't go to anyone else in the group. Okay. All right. Well, very good, everybody. Have a good rest of your Sunday. I look forward to, I hope I write those wins down because I want to hear what they are next week. All right.
Thank you. Thank you,
Welcome.
Andrea.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.